Springford, and welcome to another episode of Body Metrix, the show that teaches you practical ways to incorporate healthy nutrition principles into your lifestyle. My name is Adrienne Delgado, and I'm a dietitian right here in the Springford community. March is National Nutrition Month, and this year's theme is Eat Right, Bite by Bite. Now, when it comes to eating healthy, there are several areas we can direct our attention. Today, we're going to focus on choosing the right foods in the right portions, because that's what healthy eating is all about. So in today's episode, I want to walk you through the basics of what a nutritious diet can look like for you and your family. The first place I want to put our focus is choosing a variety of nutrients and foods every day. For so many of my clients, I see them eating the same foods over and over again. Now, some people repeatedly try to convince me they're okay with repetition, but I'm going to argue against that, because variety is the spice of life, and it's what keeps us interested in the task at hand. If you eat the same foods over and over again, eventually you're gonna get bored. So here are 3 tips to incorporating more variety into your daily diet. Number 1, eat the colors of the rainbow. Too often we get fixated on a few types of produce or one color group, and we forget that there are an abundance of produce varieties available. Each color offers a different variety of vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients to keep our bodies strong. I often use this handout at work to help people remember produce that might get overlooked. More times than not, people will say, "Oh, that's right, I do like that food. I just forgot about it." Having a list in front of you is extremely helpful and ensures you eat a variety of colors every day. Number 2, eat seasonally. Another way to combat boredom is to eat whatever foods are grown in that season. But because of technology and better transportation systems, we have the ability to eat pretty much any produce we want all year round. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it can often lead to boredom. When you choose to eat foods only during their peak growing season, it gets you excited to put it in your grocery cart. For example, we're coming closer to spring when strawberries are in season, and I get so excited to eat fresh strawberries because, well, they taste amazing, but also because I don't eat them often the rest of the year. So eating seasonally always gets me excited to eat produce. And finally, tip number 3, the last tip to prevent boredom, is meal planning. Now, I know for me personally, when I go to the grocery store without a list, I tend to pick up random ingredients and a whole lot of chicken. When I've cooked chicken for the 4th night in a row, the family starts to groan and request going out to eat because we're all sick of it. When I meal plan, I can build variety into our weekly foods because I can see it on paper. I see if I'm writing chicken down for the 4th time in a row, and then I can insert fish or ground turkey instead. I often say I have yet to meet a person who is successful at nutrition just winging it. It does take a few extra moments of thought, but I promise it's worth it in the end. So there you have it, 3 tips to fight boredom and keep you engaged and excited about your meals.
Home fire drills give your family a plan of action. In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So when you drill, show everyone 2 ways out of the house, pick a safe meeting spot, and get there in under 2 minutes. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year. You can even make them fun, so everyone knows the sound and exactly what to do when they hear a smoke alarm. Go to ready.gov/fire drill and learn how to prepare your family for home fires.
Hey!
There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go! What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders. And the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Welcome back. We're going to continue our journey through National Nutrition Month's theme, Eat Right, Bite by Bite, and tackle the topic of portion control. Portion control is a tricky thing, and it's probably the question I get most often in my office. How much of this food should I be eating? When it comes to portion control, I love to direct my clients to this helpful tool called My Plate. My Plate is a visual representation of portions and can help people identify the recommended amount of each food group. As you can see from the plate, fruits and veggies should be the majority of your plate, about 50%. Now I realize not everyone is currently doing this. More times than not, the veggies are an afterthought and may take up close to 10% of the plate if they make the plate at all. I tend to recommend half of your plates being more vegetables at dinner. Now, a quarter of your plate should be your protein source. Another way to measure this is to size up your protein to the palm of your hand, not the fingers, the palm. When you look at the size of the palm and the thickness, this is the appropriate portion of protein at a meal. And if you have big hands, get really excited. Finally, the last quarter of your plate should be your starch. This is equivalent to 1 serving spoon. Now, we all have serving spoons at home, but most of us will dish out 2 or 3 spoonfuls on our plate. Now, these plates can be really handy, and you can order them online if you want to, use these as well. I got this one from Be Better, and you can order it from them too. I think it's about maybe $11, $13 a plate, but you can also use the red Solo plates with dividers from the grocery store if you need a little bit of extra help.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist.
Use STEM to build, create,
She did it.
and change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now that you know the importance of portion control, let's switch gears and next talk about the importance of shopping from a grocery list. I have been grocery shopping from a list for years, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know how people do it without one. Some of the biggest challenges of shopping without a list include forgetting key items, and being prone to impulse buying. I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of time in my day, so going to the grocery store multiple times in a week to pick up forgotten items is not a good use of my time. Here are 3 tips to save time in the grocery store and leave with a healthier cart. Tip number 1, set up your list in alignment with your grocery store's aisles. When I make my list, I always start with produce first, since this is the first section of the grocery store I go to. It's so important to organize your list by aisle so you don't spend useless time walking back and forth. Although you can get in some extra steps, so I guess it's not totally a loss. Tip number 2, create your grocery list at the same time you are meal planning. Whenever I meal plan for the week, I always co-create a grocery list at the same time. This way, when I'm figuring out what meals to make and what ingredients I need, I can be checking the fridge and pantry at the same time to see what I already have on hand and what I need to purchase. There's never any guesswork as to whether or not I have an ingredient at home because I create the grocery list while I'm meal planning. And finally, tip number 3, stick to the plan. If ice cream isn't an ingredient you need for dinner this week, bypass that section of the grocery store. Remember, your list was created based off of what meals and snacks you plan to make that week. There's no reason to buy extra items just in case. Believe me, extra junk items laying around the house will always get eaten in favor of healthier options. If you don't bring it into the house, you're less likely to indulge in it. So remember, your 3 tips to a healthier and faster grocery shopping experience is always organize your list, create the list at the same time you're meal planning, and most important, always stick to the plan.
Hi everyone, Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that after 75 years, Smokey's only said,
"Only you can prevent wildfires."
but I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Hey, Dad. I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
We're back, and it's time to do some cooking. March is a great time of the year because we get our first glimpse at spring. Today, we're going to highlight one of my favorite vegetables, asparagus. Our recipe for today is an asparagus with an avocado herb dressing. For this recipe, you will need 2 pounds of fresh asparagus, trimmed, 1 ripe avocado, 1 cup of whole buttermilk, 1/4 cup of fresh basil leaves, 1/4 cup of fresh chives, 1½ ounces of goat cheese, 1 tablespoon of champagne vinegar, 3/4 teaspoon of ground pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of granulated sugar. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring a pot of water, a large pot of water, to a boil. Once that starts boiling, we're going to add our fresh asparagus. Now, one of the tips for when you're trimming asparagus, these are already done, but you're going to take your asparagus, you're going to hold it by the tip, like right by where the asparagus head comes to where they start to close in. You're going to hold it here, and you're going to hold it at the end, and you're going to just do a gentle tug. Wherever the asparagus naturally breaks, that's where you want to trim it. So once you have one done, you can then take this one and line it up to all the rest of the asparagus spears that you have, and then just with a knife cut it at that natural break. But that's how you trim asparagus. Once you have your pot of water boiling, you want to go ahead and add your asparagus to that, and you're going to cook for about 3 minutes. So we're really looking for like a crisp, tender consistency. Once you pull it out of that water, go ahead and rinse it under cold water. That's going to stop the cooking process. And then go ahead and let it dry, pat it down with some paper towels. I just have mine sitting on a plate here. I did that step ahead of time for the sake of time. All right, so here we have about 2 pounds of our freshly cooked asparagus. Now we're going to make our avocado herb dressing, and this is so simple. I love recipes where you just dump everything into a blender or into a bowl, and that's what we're going to do here. So I have my my avocado, and I'm basically going to cut this open. You guys, do you know the trick for finding a ripe avocado? You basically just want to feel it. It should have a little bit of give to it. If it's rock hard, it is not ripe, and you want to go ahead and let that sit out on your counter for a little bit until it starts to soften. Do not put hard avocados in the refrigerator, because that will actually stop the ripening process, and so you're just going to have cold, hard avocados in your refrigerator. So always let them ripen on the counter first. So I'm basically going to take my avocado, this one is perfect, and put that right into my blender. Go ahead and do that with the other one. Oh boy, there went the pit. I'll go grab that. I was hoping I could save it. All right, let me grab my paper towel here. All right, so I have my avocado. Next, we're gonna do a cup of buttermilk. So one of the things that, buttermilk is one of those ingredients that you rarely use, and when you do need it, you only need a small amount. So for this, I'm going to actually make my own buttermilk. And so how we make a cup of buttermilk is we take a tablespoon of lemon juice, and we put that into our measuring cup. And then we fill the rest of the cup up to the 1 cup line with regular milk. And that's how we make buttermilk. So there's 16 tablespoons in a cup. So basically what we're doing here is we're going to do 1 cup of lemon juice and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice and 15 tablespoons of milk. And so we're just going to give that a quick stir. Allow the lemon juice to kind of curdle the milk a little bit with the acid. I'm just going to let that sit for a little bit. I'll add that at the end. Next, I'm going to add a tablespoon of my champagne vinegar. If you don't have that on hand at home, you can always use white wine vinegar. I'm going to add my fresh herbs, so my chives and my basil. And if you want, you can actually use half of it, the 2 tablespoons of chives, 2 tablespoons of basil, and then save the other 2 tablespoons for garnish if you want. I'm just going to throw all mine in. Here's my 1.5 ounces of goat cheese, which if you're using a container like this, it's about 1/4 of it, just to give you some perspective. I'll throw that in, and then my salt, pepper, and sugar go right in there as well. I think that's all my ingredients. I'll add my milk at this point. And now we just blend. Perfect. That is it. How simple is that? And it just basically turns just a everyday asparagus dish into a really special dish just by adding a couple ingredients. And so I'll take this and I'll just, you know what, so I don't make a huge mess. I'm going to take my, it's nice, thick and creamy, and I'm just going to go ahead and drizzle that. Is that not beautiful? And what a great way to dress up asparagus. You know what else this would be really good for? Is Easter, if you're looking to dress up your side dish. All right, so you got that beautiful green color. It's so tasty. I promise you, you're gonna love it. And it is so super simple. So there you have it. Quick, easy, healthy, and I definitely guarantee a dish you're gonna love and you're gonna wanna share with friends and family members. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great week.